Hey everyone, welcome back to Digits. Today we're going to be talking about our new unit, which we'll be discussing statistical questions and what makes a good statistical question. Let's go ahead and get started. So to dive in a little bit, I want you and the kids that are sitting next to you, it might be your sibling because you might be at home, or it might be a neighbor at school in your classroom. I want you guys to read the 5 questions we have here and see if you can sort them into 2 different categories. So you have, how long does it take students to get to school? What is your favorite color? Did the cafeteria serve pizza today? Or how many books do students read each month? What fruit do students like to eat? You have those 5 questions, and I want you and your neighbor to work together and sort it into 2 different categories. Go ahead and get started. Push pause and push play when you think you've gotten it all figured out. All right, so you should have sorted these 5 questions into 2 different categories. If you didn't, shame on you, okay? We all kind of trying to work here, all right? So how long does it take students to get to school? What is your favorite color? Did the cafeteria serve pizza today? How many books do students read each month? And what fruit do students like to eat? When I looked at this, I kind of sorted them from school kind of related items to things that don't really have anything to do with school. So like, how long does it take students to go to school versus the cafeteria and the books one? I had that in one category. Then I had, what is your favorite color and what fruit do students like to eat in another category? There are several different ways to split this up, but it's kind of subjective. It kind of depends on what you wish your category could be, okay? Well, let's move on a little bit so we have an idea of some different questions. But I want you to copy this statistical question definition into your notebook. A statistical question is a question that investigates an aspect of the world and have more than one possible response. So the key words, guys, in this definition is investigates an aspect of the world and more than one response. So here are a couple examples I included with some statistical questions. How old are students in my class? There can be more than one answer for this. There could be some kids that are 11, 11 and a half, 11 and 3/4. Okay, if you want to be a little less, I guess technical, you can say just 11. Or 12, because some kids had a birthday during the school year. Or 13, who knows, maybe 14, who knows how old all these kids are, okay? How do my friends get to school? Now that could be, again, multiple different answers, because maybe they walked, maybe they rode a bike, maybe they rode on the bus, maybe their grandma drove them, or maybe they rode in the car. Hopefully you didn't drive yourself, because my gut friends, you're in middle school, you should not be driving yourself to school, okay? But again, these are statistical questions, so you should have more than one response if you were to ask them around. Some examples of some questions that are not statistical questions would be, how old am I? Well, if you asked, how old am I, there should just be one answer. Doesn't matter what other people say, but the fact is you are one age right now. Okay? You might be 11, you might be 12, you might be 24, you might be 87. But you're just one age right now. How did I get to school today? Guys, I really, really hope that you just got to school in one vehicle today. Like rode a car or walked or rode the bus. Because if you told me that you rode the bus and a car, I'd be a little bit freaked out that you rode both, because I'd be confused. And I would need a very good explanation as to why there's more than one answer there. Okay? All right, so copy this into your notebook. Why is, how long does it take people to commute to work, a statistical question? Whoa. The first time, guys, you read a question, it's not going to always make sense. So, when you read a question, read it more than one time. All right, so read it again. Why is, how long does it take people to commute to work? A statistical question. Oh my gosh! Figured out what this was asking me. It's asking why this is a good question. How long does it take people to get to work? That makes sense now. See there, if you read it more than one time, you start to formulate a good idea of what it's asking you in the question. All right, so I want you to think about this before you answer it. Think about, okay, What are some possible answers I could get if I asked people this question? Why would that be a good statistical question? Pause the video and think about it real quick before you push play. Well, here's your answer. This is a good question because it can vary from person to person. Guys, not every single person in the world lives at Miss Kennedy's house and works where Miss Kennedy works. We all live at different places and we work at different places. So it might take everybody a different time to go to work, even if they all work at the same place. I live only 8 minutes away from the school. But Miss Leopard, she lives in Pendleton. It takes her like 45 minutes to get to work every day because she has to drop her son off at daycare. And then Miss Wofford, I don't even know where Miss Wofford lives, but I know it takes her longer than me to get to work. So like don't tell her I said I didn't know where she lives. Don't tell her I said that. But anyways, so yeah, there are going to be multiple different answers for these questions. That is a good statistical question. Does that make sense, hopefully? I don't know why I asked, because no one's going to be there to answer. All right, let's think about this one. We don't have to answer it because the answer's there for you. Why is how many hours do students play video games in one day? Wait, what? Read it again. Why is how many hours do students play video games in one day a statistical question? Okay. Now that I've read it more than one time, it makes sense now. Okay, so why is that a good statistical question? Well, some kids might not play video games. Some kids might be grounded or something. Some kids might play video games from the second they get home until the second they go to bed at 12:30 at night. Okay, that's why they're failing all their classes. Some kids might play just an hour. Some kids might play 20 minutes. There could be multiple different answers for this question. That's why it's such a good statistical question. All right, so you're going to work with your neighbor. And I don't mean you're going to go over to your neighbor's house. I mean, unless you just kind of want to and say, hey, let's work this out real quick. I bet you can't figure it out. I mean, it's up to you. But if you're in a classroom, work with the kid that sits next to you. That's kind of what we're talking about a little bit. You guys are going to look at these 4 questions and decide, okay, what's a good statistical question and which ones are not very good statistical questions? And remember, statistical questions have more than one possible answer. Okay, so pause the video and think about it with your neighbor for a second, and then see if you guys can formulate a really good argument as to why you think it's a good or bad statistical question. Okay, go. All right, in case you didn't pause the video, here are your answers. I hope you did pause the video so you can actually think a little bit. But some examples, or I'm sorry, not examples. The questions that are good statistical questions would be, do shoppers in my town use paper bags or plastic bags? That's a good statistical question because it could be, well, some of them, they all use paper bags, or they all use plastic bags, or Jenny, she uses both, or Miss Kennedy, she only uses cloth bags. Okay, you can have different answers to that question. How much do drivers spend on gasoline per month? Well, it depends on how far the driver drives. Miss Leopard might spend a little bit more than Miss Kennedy because I'm only going to school. Only the 8-minute drive, where she has to drive a lot longer than I do. It depends on the car they have. It depends on what grade of gasoline they get. There are tons of factors that go into that question. Okay? Some of the questions that are not statistical questions would be, how many plastic bottles did I use last month? There can only be one answer to that, because you can't just now start drinking more and more bottles of water and then adding to that pile that you drank last month, because you didn't drink those new ones last month. There's only one answer to that. How many computers does my school have? Well, there should only be one answer to that, because your school only has one amount of computers. Okay, that includes the ones that are at home too. Those still belong to the school even though it's at your house. Okay, let's keep going. Answer this question on your whiteboard for your teacher to check. So which questions are statistical questions? Stop. Read it again. Which questions are statistical questions? One thing I've noticed, guys, on some of the tests is you'll read a question and there's a little not stuck in there. And you only read it one time and you skip over the not. Like it'll ask which ones are not statistical questions, and you'll be like, okay, which ones are statistical questions? and you'll answer the one that would be. Okay? You need to read the question more than one time so you know what it's asking you. How much time did students spend on the computer yesterday? What kind of calculator do I have? How many emails will I get each day for the next week? Which questions are statistical questions? Okay? I'm not going to tell you the answer to this because I'm going to get you to write it down and check with the teacher and see if you got it right. If you live at home, or if you're at home doing this because you're sick, I miss you. I hope you get feeling better soon. But if you're at home, then email me, dude. You know my email address. Email me your answer. I want to know. I want to see what you think. Okay? I'm not spoiling you. All right, this is the last thing I want you guys to include in your notes. When you ask a statistical question, when you ask a statistical question, the responses that you get are called data. Data are numbers of other pieces of information collected by asking questions, measuring, or making observations about the real world. You're going to use data a lot in science. Okay? You'll use it a lot in the real world. And a lot of jobs in biology have you use data. Okay? So this was an idea. Actually, a lot of jobs in general have you using data. Not every job in the world does, but a lot of them do. Again, copy this down because you need to know it. First of all, you need to know what data means because everyone needs to know what that means. And you need to know it because we might have a quiz on it. Who knows? Okay? So go ahead and get on to your digits assignment for today. And I hope you do amazingly on it because I know you will because you are smart, you are powerful, and you are awesome. If you have any questions, feel free to email me whenever, I like to hear from you. I like to know that you, are curious about math, even though a lot of you guys really aren't. But a girl can dream, right? Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys later.